Hey there everyone, it's Joe from Bullion Now, bullionnow.com.au, selling you the very best bullion bars and coins shipped to you worldwide from Melbourne in Australia. This is of course your weekly precious metals technical analysis where we take a look at the big four: gold, silver, platinum and palladium. Head over to bullionnow.com.au. Here's our business hours when we're closed, in between over Christmas and New Year's, etc. We posted this YouTube video saying that's it, we're closing, and I think probably most of you understood what that was going to mean, but some of you thought we're actually closing down for good. That's why I did that title, a little bit of a, whatever they call it, a clickbaity title. But we're going to be closed for Christmas, of course, but the online store will continue to be open during that time. If you're going to place an order anytime between December the 24th and January the 5th, know that it won't get processed until we come back for after the break, and we will reopen on Monday, January the 6th, and we'll start processing all the orders then. Just bear in mind, of course, if you're ordering in that time, you still have to pay within the 48-hour time frame. So you can't purchase on the 24th and then wait to pay until the 6th. No, still got to get your payment in, but we won't be able to process orders, obviously, because we're going to be, on a beach somewhere sipping pina coladas, or, stuffing ourselves with turkey and chicken and roast and potatoes and all that good stuff. So thanks for your patience. Here is gold. We're looking at it on the daily time frame. We're using the tradingview.com website. It's always priced in US dollars. Sometimes we take a look at the Australian dollar price. I'm not going to do that again this week. Sorry for all the Aussies. It's just not as relevant as obviously the US dollar price. And we had a massive amount of people in the store today. It was just pretty much bumper to bumper almost for the whole day. I think people just getting in before Christmas, obviously. And we're right towards the end of the day, so I'm going to make this quite quick. So here we are with gold. And last week, with gold and silver, I was just remaining biased to the downside, 51% chance, of course. I like to stay on the fence as much as possible. And I'm going to stay with that just for now. Again, I don't want to be the flip-flopper. We're looking positive at the moment, though, for a move higher, but we're not, again, just not out of the woods. This is looking positive, but we just need to see the gold price move above, and significantly above, the price here of approximately 1,485, roughly something like that. If this was to pop up in the next sort of 12 hours or before the end of this trading day is over, if this was to pop up through there, then I would say, okay, we're probably out of the woods, and then we might just sort of consolidate through time and then head up higher. But we're not out of that yet. And as I have been saying, I do feel that there is still a little bit of room to move down. So I could certainly see it moving down further. It just wouldn't surprise me at all. So not out of the woods just yet. Pardon me. So I will stay biased to the downside just for the moment on gold. If we are moving down further, let me go back to the daily. If we have, say, a move, for example, up to here and then we come back down, for example, it would have to, I should say, break below this area right here, which is the 18 average of lows at approximately 1,465. Breaking down through there would tell me we're definitely going to be heading a bit lower, and possibly quite lower, and I think it would butt up against this trend line, this downtrend line right here. Depends when it hits, but for example, and we're just sort of speculating, of course, if it had a big move in the next week or two, then you could see it move all the way down to, interestingly, which coincides one of these previous points that I've drawn in there, but it could move all the way down to around about your sort of 1430 kind of mark there. And if we break down through there, of course, I've been talking about this longer term trend line right there going through those 2 points, and it would go it would break down further and hit that at some point. Just depends when it hit. If it did it in the next week, you'd be looking, or two, you'd be looking at a price of 1390 to, say, what's that, 1390, yeah, around about that, 1390, 1400 is where it would break down to, in my opinion, if it's breaking down. I'm definitely not saying we're heading all the way down there, but I've just given you my 51% bias to the downside just for now, until it proves us wrong, which I certainly hope it does, because I'm invested in the metals and so are you, and we want it to just go up, and up, but we just need to see it move above there before I can call that, that we're out of the woods. I won't mention higher prices for the moment, because if we do have a bit of an imminent breakout, I might make a quick video, just updating you on that thing rather than, or in addition to my weekly analysis. So that is gold. Let's take a look at silver. I'm in the same frame of mind with silver as well. We're having a nice little run up. We had that bottoming out so far, of which that was a correct call for me, $16.50 roughly, and then we've come all the way up and then to the $17 mark, back down to this trend line, this line right here, and that was down at about $16.80, $16.90. Things are looking good again, but we're just like in gold, we need to see it break out of this trend line right here. And if we did that in the next, say this is on the daily time frame, in the next few days, it would have to break above considerably. I would say about here, which is about $17. No, it'd have to break out above $17.20. It'd have to break up above this level right here, and that's at approximately $17.30, and it would make its way very quickly, I think, to $17.50. But if we break out to that kind of territory here, I would say yes, then we're probably not going to see lower prices. But we're not out of that pattern just yet. So if we do break down further, of course, I've been talking about these major two levels of $16.20, and then the very lowest I think it would go would be down here at $15.50. And again, I won't talk about the higher prices, and I will make a separate video if it does have that big kind of breakout. You might get a special little alert video from me, and you might get that during the Christmas period when we're off, but I've got my laptop at home with me, got my microphone with me. I can make a quick little video if I feel like it. So that's silver. Told you I'm keeping it very, very quick today. Let's take a quick look at XPT, that's platinum. Of course, now last week I was talking about we had broken out through this triangle, this trend line right here. We had broken out, we were hovering around about here, and I was saying be wary or be aware that once you break out of a trend line and you break above it, you tend to visit it again, at least once, and sometimes more than once. I didn't say more than once last week in the video, but you do sometimes come to revisit it, and we have seen that happen in the last week or so. And we've seen it come down from about 950 all the way back down, a little pierce below the trend line, but what you'll notice in both times that it has pierced below, it's quickly risen back up. So it says that buyers seem to be in more control of the market than the sellers. That was a quick sell-off, and then back above that trend line, and then another quick sell-off, and then a quick move back up again. So I think for me, I'm going to stay neutral for now. I do think it is going to trade within a bit of a range for over a period of time. What period of time? Look, I don't know. So I'm going to stay neutral for now on platinum. I do think, though, obviously, as I've been saying for a while now, we are not going to see this trend line visited ever again in the foreseeable future. I don't know about 50 years from now, but I think that's it. I don't think you're going to see this again, seeing as though particularly we've broken out of this trend line right here. So again, like gold and silver, if there's a big spike up, I will then give my targets moving higher. They're pretty obvious. You can probably see them anyway. Of course, the next one would be this level right here at about that $1,000 level mark. That won't be too much resistance, I think, because we've already hit it before. And moving up from there, I've got these lines. You can even pause the video. These lines drawn in previously, about 1,050, and you're roughly like $1,090, $1,100. We'll do the longer term stuff when we see a considerable breakout, but we might travel, just sort of consolidate through time for a little while here. Let's look at Palladium. What have I been telling you about Palladium, gang? What have I been saying? The psychological value of $2,000. Now, where have we hit so far? Will you look at that? There's your $2,000 blue mark right there, 2004 cents. And we have come up to almost touch it at $1,998. The question here is, where do we go from here? So I think I'm still very bullish for Palladium, but we need to see it move back up before I can confidently say we're still heading up and going to go into the post 200 range, into the sort of between 2000 range, I should say, between 2000 and 2600. I'll get to that in a second. Maybe we'll check this out on the 4 hour. Beware of the dead cat bounce on this one. Maybe I'll show you on the weekly. Right here, see, we've had this big move from 1680 all the way up now to basically 2000, and we might see a little bit of a sell-off. Be aware of the dead cat bounce, which is we come down and we come back up and everyone thinks it's heading back up, and no, it's a fake out and it heads back down. If we are heading back down, and I'm going to stay in the medium term time frame, and I'm saying in the next week, in the next 7 days, I'm going to be neutral on the price as of right now, because there's no indication for me that's definitely heading higher from here or definitely heading lower from here. So I'll stay neutral. What we would want to see if we are going to keep heading higher is we need to head back above, and I'll go back to the daily. We would need to break above this level right here. For me personally, again, this is not financial advice, it's on my own personal opinion, and I'm not an expert. We would need to see a break above 1,975 before we could confidently say that we are not heading back down, because we could move all the way up to 1975, or yeah, around 1975, and it could still be a dead cat bounce, a fake out, and then we head down further. So I need to see that first before I can call, higher or lower. So let's stay neutral for now. If we're going to move lower, where would we move to? And the most obvious spot, heading back onto the weekly, is right here. Let me pop in that horizontal line. You can see it anyway, I'm sure in your mind's eye, right there at approximately 1810. Let's give it, no, let me hit that up. No, sorry, my apologies. It's around about 1,825 is where we could possibly come down to. Now, interestingly, that's also roughly where the 18 averages of highs are sitting right there. You can see that blue line right there. That's the 18 average of highs. And a lot of the time, prices after breaking above the 18 average of highs and significantly above, that tends to come and visit again. So it wouldn't surprise me if we are moving down further that we would come down to here at about 1825. If we really broke down further, let's see where we could break down to. And if we break down, even if we break down to, was that 1825 level I mentioned, that's a good buying opportunity. If we break down even further, potentially down to the 18 average of highs on the monthly time frame. Let me get rid of that so you can see it a little better, and I'll actually also get rid of that. There you go. Now you can see that blue line right there, right here. The 18 average of highs on the monthly time frame would be the next level down, and that, interestingly, again, is coinciding with this previous old high. Let me draw that in, of 1620. So even if we broke down from here, that's a decent move from 2000 down to 1621. That would be an excellent buying opportunity in my personal opinion. I'm not waiting for it to drop to there until I buy Palladium. When Palladium comes into the store, I try and snap it up as quickly as humanly possible. But if it was to come down to there, pretty good buying opportunity, I would say. And breaking down further from there, I'm going to leave that for now. Maybe that'll be a separate video. We'll wait to see where the price goes. But the very lowest it could go, in my opinion, as of right now, in the next, say, month, would be at about 1620. Are we heading there? No, definitely not saying that at all. I'm just staying at neutral for now. But I've given you those targets, and of course moving higher. Again, look, I'll just show you quickly. If you're watching these videos for the first time, let's just do the blue sky thinking. If we just if this is a failed break down to the downside, then we'll see a fast move in the opposite direction, and then we'll be steadily heading our way to the $2,600 level. Again, this is in US dollars, and that's calculated from the old high of 1085 and the old low here of 145. Is a Fibonacci level, the 2.618 Fibonacci level of 2,600, give or take a few bucks. That is it, gang. I'm not going to do the gold to silver ratio. We don't need to worry about that for now. I'm going to close up the store and get everything tucked away neatly and safely, and we will live to fight another day tomorrow. Interestingly, if you're in Melbourne, it's going to be an absolute scorcher, 44 degrees Celsius. Look that up in your Fahrenheit and you'll see how damn hot it's going to be tomorrow. It's going to be an interesting one tomorrow. I don't think we're going to have many customers at all. I think they all came in today because they knew it was going to be so hot tomorrow. Anyway, I'm rambling, and that's, when I start talking about the weather, I've got nothing else to say. So for now, I'll say thanks, of course, for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. Join the family. Join the winning team. Stay safe. Take care, and we'll speak to you soon.